Sal, it's been a crazy week here in New York City. Everybody
Mhm.
saw they had this bomb, kind of a dud bomb. It's amazing. How are you doing over there in Florida?
Very wet. It's pouring right now over here. It's kind of like for us, this the equivalent of you having a snowstorm is us having all this rain. So
Right.
it's been a mess all day. I stepped out. I got soaked. It is what it is. It's Florida. I mean, we got
Monsoon
rained on.
season.
Yeah, we got rained on when we were out there last time in where was that, Deerfield. So
That's true.
you got
That's
rain.
true. But you've been covering some incredible stories. There was some breaking news. What was it that was going on there? Madry is in trouble again, right?
Yeah. So what's interesting now is that we've been talking about this for like years now, but I was covering all of this. Um, Tim Pearson, who was Eric Adams' mayoral aide, he's also the guy that showed up in the migrant shelters. He's infamous for saying, "Where's my crumbs?" And another infamous figure, the now former disgraced NYPD chief of department, Jeffrey Madry, who had a whole scandal. There was all kinds of stuff going on in his office, females, a lot of stuff. And he's being sued. He's been sued before for sexual harassment and worse. And Tim Pearson, who has numerous sexual harassment or sex assault lawsuits against him as well. Because they were employed by the city, the law department, corporation counsel, has to review each case and then decide whether they're going to defend them or not, meaning they would have to seek their own counsel. Under General Municipal Law 50K2, they cannot be represented by the city. Why? Because sexual assault, rape, sexual misconduct is not in the scope of one's duties of their employment for the city.
Even
But
if you work for
somehow they,
Eric Adams?
yeah, even if you work for Eric Adams. So somehow they were being represented by the city. And so far it's cost well past $620 or $650,000 by the taxpayers. Finally today, it was made public by the head of Corporation Counsel, Mamdani's head of Corporation Counsel, stated that they will no longer be representing Jeffrey Madry and Tim Pearson in their sexual misconduct lawsuits. And now there it is, 645,000 have already been paid out in those cases. And I was on top of this. I mean, Eric Adams is still being represented somehow in a sex assault case that he shouldn't be represented by the city. And if you live in New York City, you should be paying attention to this because it's your money. I don't know how you think it's okay to be representing someone for sexual misconduct during on-duty hours and while they're their scope of employment, which that is not in the duties of an official. During an official's work during the day, nowhere does it says you have to sexually harass someone and the city's got to pay for it. So they finally, all these years later, cut them off.
So, Sal, I think the question is, at least in my mind, to what extent you mentioned that it's Zoran Mamdani's head of Corporation Counsel. I'm all too familiar with Corporation Counsel. They obviously represent NYPD and the city and all that kind of stuff. So is this Mamdani's doing? Did he tell or have any influence over Corporation Counsel and say, don't represent these Eric Adams cronies?
It was brought up to his attention. I mean, listen, I could tell you his office watches my show and my feed. He's well aware of the fact that Tim Pearson and Madry and Adams and others, there's others there as well, that somehow the city is representing this nefarious cast for sexual misconduct cases when they shouldn't. If you get accused of sexual misconduct and it's during the scope of your duties, you're doing this on duty or whatever it is you're doing, taxpayers can't be responsible for that. That's behavior that's being done while you're working, and that is not the duties and responsibilities of anyone, police officer, mayoral aides, firefighters, sanitation workers. So all of this, it does affect things because litigation, that's where you're going to get killed in your city police department and the city. So Mamdani, it took a while. It's 3 months in, but now they finally caught wind and said, all right, enough is enough. We shouldn't be paying for this stuff. And good job by his corporation counsel. And that's the difference between me and others. You know, they can't see past their feelings. This should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can recover this money, this $645K, but the taxpayer should not be paying for their legal defense at all. At all.
I would say offhand, there's no way these guys aren't going to be able to come up with $645,000. But,
Nope.
you know, I mean, even if they can't recover the money, at least the fact that they've put an end to it. I mean, look, you got to praise Mamdani's administration, even if we have disagreements with him or don't like some of his decisions. This was absolutely the right thing to do. It sends the message that the city is not going to tolerate this kind of misconduct. And anybody who might be in that kind of position of power who thinks, oh, nothing's going to happen because even if I do get brought up on criminal charges or civil charges or whatever, the city is going to foot the bill. Now these guys, what they'll do is they'll probably say, you owe us $645,000. They're never going to be able to pay it back, and that'll be the end of it. But it's still...
Well, they do have a pension. So just so people know, their pensions could
dock it, put a lien on that.
Money. Put a lien. There's many ways to get it back because they've done this in the past where there have been cases where they try to recoup some money out of the legal stuff because, I mean, it was Eric Adams that basically said, you're going to cover their legal, even though you're like, wait a minute, this sexual misconduct? Since when do we cover this? And I could tell you this, Madry was involved in sexual misconduct in the past, and the city did not pay for his legal fees. They did not. So why did they change now? Well, it's obvious. They changed in the recent couple of years because you had Eric Adams as the mayor who tells you, I listen to my attorneys. And then the other flip side, no, I tell them what to do because that guy can never stand on any position. And unfortunately, this was some of the ramifications of having that guy as your mayor. There's going to be a lot of payouts of litigation with him as he did all kinds of stuff. And I mean, there's stuff today which we could go over, that's, taxpayers and citizens should know about. But this is some of the fall of Eric Adams, all this stuff, all this litigation that was already ongoing. I mean, Pearson's involved in 4 or 5 or 6 sexual misconduct cases, at least on his own. Madry has a few. Your favorite, John Shell, has a few.
When do these guys have time to be actual cops if they're just so busy, like sexually assaulting people or harassing people?
I mean, this is what they do, By the way, I've revamped the website. So
looks good.
You can actually now order those shirts.
Oh, there Joe Cop and Hairbag T-shirts. There you go. This is the Hairbag Forever Society. Official T-shirt.
This is the Hairbag Society T-shirt. There it is. Joe Cop Hairbag for life. If that's you, you know it all. Here it is. You can wear it. Or I mean, you could take run around.
That's great. Did you design that, Sal? That looks great.
Yes.
Very well done. So you see, not only are you a former NYPD officer, a talk show host, and a multi-talented executive protection specialist. You're now an AI artist and a clothing designer. Very nice.
Yeah, you have to be, you could buy a mug on there too. Show, you could have your the Sal Greco show mug, and you could actually then, while you watch my show or you see me, you could have the mug and you support the show. There's great. The Fugazi shirt, which was looks like a certain former mayor of New York City.
Oh, wow.
Shirt.
Who's going to walk around with a Fugazi? No, that's
You want to be a Fugazi? You're representing the Sal Greco show. You know where you got your stuff.
That's great. So you got some new gear there on salgreco.com. You scroll down, you got the mugs.
There it is.
Very nice.
The Sal Greco show mug. You could have the one if Sal Greco did nothing wrong, which was the mantra from the very beginning, or there's the mug. You go, the girls could wear it too. There's the female version.
Right. What's happening with your case, Sal? When's the next major hearing or kind of development
Yeah,
going to
next
happen.
week is another hearing. We had one this week, and like I said, in this litigation, the city will always drag their feet. I know a lot of people want to know, oh, it's not easy, even though you think things are a slam dunk. These courts, 90+% of the time, especially in federal court, will side with the law enforcement people because the Joe Cop shirt I'm showing you, everyone just wears a blindfold. They're a cop. Everything's right. Even if the cop blows somebody's brains out on national TV, a lot of people will still say, no, he's right. Back the blue. And that's how the court system reacts, even though you have a zillion documents and evidence to prove otherwise. To get to the part of where you're in a jury takes forever. If you were just suing someone else, I mean, you've been through it. When you just sue a normal person or a corporation and you're going back and forth, that moves not as slow as this, unless you got good attorneys that know the system. But when it gets to the city, this is how they do business. And we'll see next week is another hearing about, documents and stuff because they were trying to slow down depositions. They closed it. So they got to file affidavits. It's just one nightmare after the other. And I'm not the only one, Jason. Anyone that's in the same shoes you have to go through the same ordeal. So something that you would say, Jason, inside of 18 months should be in front of a jury is now up to 4 years and saying, how is this allowed to go this far? How are we dragging our feet?
I mean, there's no doubt that that's part of their strategy is that they are New York City. They have essentially unlimited resources. Lawyers will be occupying these positions, whether lawyers retire, move to other jobs, get hit by a truck. They're going to have lawyers there. And part of what they're relying on is, are you, any individual, going to be able to sustain this kind of a legal battle for 4 years? And the answer in most cases is no. But let's talk about the headline today, Sal, because a lot of people saw the news that this community affairs clown, allegedly, I allege, I'm talking about Walter Masterson, the guy here up on Mamdani's back. I've taken the liberty of modifying this image somewhat with AI because people know it was Masterson on the megaphone, and then it was some, I don't know the guy's name, it doesn't really matter, ISIS declaring bomber who came up behind Masterson with the most Wile E. Coyote kind of fuse smoking bomb that anybody, it was like a prop out of the Muppet Show this guy threw with the bomb. but
the Muppet was out there. The Muppet was out there.
Was there that day?
Yeah, he took some infamous video that was floating around. He was out there recording all these clowns and all this stuff going on. So it's interesting. He was out there. So was Crackhead Barney, but she's always out there, isn't she?
No, they're not always out there, but they are always out there when these incidents happen. And see, that's my point exactly. The villainous Muppet that we're talking about is professional moron Oren Levi. And so you're saying that he was there covering this bomb incident. I'm not surprised, because to me the whole thing seems staged to create a PR opportunity for CNN to say, oh, of course there he is. So it's a PR opportunity for CNN to say, oh, this was targeting Mamdani, which obviously it wasn't. I mean, it happened at Gracie Mansion, but Mamdani wasn't even there. This bomb was a dud. And that's not to say that people shouldn't take bomb threats and terrorist incidents seriously, but I just find it coincidental that all these social engineering morons, Oren Levi, Walter Masterson, Uniska Wahala Kano, Crackhead Barney, of course, they're all there. This is, as John Shell would say, controlling the narrative, because now the takeaway is, oh, the NYPD stopped a bomb, so maybe that's positive, makes would-be bombers think they're going to get stopped by the NYPD, but it helps, I think, smooth over any negative feelings between Mamdani and the police to have these different kind of, he's thanking them at award shows and things like that. It gave him an opportunity to talk about how Jake Lang is a white supremacist. I think Jake Lang is probably a social engineer.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Talk to us about that.
You go back and we remember Minnesota. He went to Minnesota And what happened there? A fiasco when he showed up.
Was he
showed
rubbing
up
pork on the Koran?
Yeah, the pork on the Koran. He did some other stuff in Minnesota. He had to get out of there because they hit him with something. He was bleeding from his head. I think he went to Florida also. He was in some towns. Everywhere he goes, including January 6th, chaos ensues. And when you see this, and he says Christian, all of that, but I think he's actually Jewish. So I don't know how that even works, how you could be saying one thing, but you can't pray. I don't know. You can, but it just is a suspect that he's Mr. Christian, but he's Jewish. There's pictures of him. I don't know what he is, other than this is the classic guy who's a social engineer. And by the way, this guy actually reached out to me over a year ago, try to come on my show. And, I could sniff this guy out from a mile away. This is not a guy you want to be associating with. So, and wherever he goes, trouble ensues. He's one of those guys. He's the real agent provocateur. They always accuse our friend Roger Stone of being that, but this guy, where he goes, chaos ensues. He was at the Gracie Mansion for the press conference on Monday, and it was all chaotic with him there. Again, it's just wherever he goes, and him being there, and unfortunately, I know people saying the police department cannot have 500 people out there because Jake Lang is there. We're not going to make this guy into like a godlike figure.
Right.
Yeah, because he's not. He's a clown, and he's just a clout chasing clown. He's looking for he's running around with a goat, and he kind of made this more of a spectacle than what it was. He had a goat. Yeah, you could check the videos.
How are you allowed to walk around New York City with a goat?
Well, that's the thing. Do you go after him? Do you write him a summons? Do you arrest him? You make him.
Is that allowed? Can you have a goat in New York City?
No, technically I think you need a permit. You can't have a
goat permit.
He had a goat.
Where's the Department of Goats?
Yeah, he had a goat, and the goat was in the van. He took it out. I mean, this guy was begging to be arrested or worse, and you got what you wanted. And you got these two guys that one of them I know the FBI again should have been keeping tabs on because he was talking about things online. The other guy nobody knew. So again, and people have rights, and people need to remember that, because if anyone is critical about the police department by every little thing they do, it's me. But there it is. There's the goat. You can't have one in New York City. But did the police department handle this, thanks to that protest settlement agreement, as best they could? And everyone who was out there should be applauded. There's a lot of chatter. Monday morning quarterback. This is how they did it. This is how they did it 10 years ago. There's a protest settlement agreement. No, you can't just come in guns blazing with SRG and all these people. It has to be determined. And believe me, the NYPD is run by lawyers. They don't want these big litigation that goes on forever with people saying that, SRG came in and arrested me or whatever. And in a protest that, let's be honest, Jason, it wasn't really that big. It was just a normal protest that this clown made into a spectacle. And then these two guys took it upon themselves to go do something crazy, which it's always there.
This is just 2023 that this began.
This started in 2023. And they have to follow. It's 4 tiers. Jason, just to get anything through, you have to go through chains in the police department all the way up to the top. Whoever's on the scene is an incident commander. He reports back to another chief. And believe me, there's a legal, also there's a lawyer involved, and there's a chief that he's not even on the scene, but, has to know what's going on. So just to get SRG there would take all these people having to sign off on it. And the reason they have it like that, they call it green light offenses, red light offenses. All of that is because of what happened in 2020. That was a fallout. It's a settlement from a protest agreement they have since 2023. So the police department, that's why you see certain responses. Obviously, we covered the snowball incident, which, yes, SRG was supposed to show up because going in, it was already violence and there was ice and snow being thrown at people and objects. So, yes, you need SRG. But they called them off. And what was that? The assumption there, like I said, the allegation always is nobody wanted to take any felonies because crime is down, as you know. So that was one instance. Here's a different one where, as bad as I go after the soccer mom for virtually everything because she really doesn't belong there. She's unqualified to be police commissioner, but she and her executives handled it correctly. Whether anyone likes them or not, that's just the name. That's the nature of the business.
You know what? I've been getting emails from soccer moms who are upset that you say, but it's fine to be a soccer mom. It's just you can't do that. You got to take people to soccer. You can't do that and run the cops. It's one or the other.
She is the soccer mom. Out of all the soccer moms that could be, remember, she's also a billionaire soccer mom. She is in a position where, listen, would you put someone who's a janitor in charge of a mega corporation? That's what you're looking at here. She has no idea about policing. None. I don't care how she worked there. She was doing administrative work. She never wore a uniform. She never arrested anyone. She doesn't know the lingo. She doesn't understand how cops are, their behavior, nothing. She just knows, I'm worth billions of dollars. You bow down to me. Oh, was that? You want a day off? What? That's what you're getting. So just so you understand, that's why she is the soccer mom, the one and only. Their real soccer moms actually do. They understand what's going on. She doesn't. That's the point.
Well, but I mean, see, this is what I'm saying, is that we've got this incident now where if something like this were not staged and stage managed, the probability that a bunch of idiots like the soccer mom and Zorhan Mamdani could handle it properly is low. But if we are correct that since every single person involved, from Jake Lang to Walter Masterson to, crackhead Barney and Orrin Levi, seems to be under the control of the police, now we have these headlines for days from the New York Times, etc. We've never had anything like this before. Okay. And because nobody was killed and these guys were arrested right away, it gives the false appearance that they're competent. And as you just said, they handled it well. So perhaps this is a counterweight to some of the crises we've seen from them having absolutely no idea what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. A lot of them don't. And those that do, their voices are tapered down. They don't want to hear from them, or they put them out to pasture because, everything's political. Everything's about how they look. And, as long as, crime is down. Yeah, I can tell you there's a lot of stories of number fudging. There's a lot of things that they're doing. I'm going to unveil them as we go. There's a lot of things going on and to make things look. So the optics, which is all they really care about, the optics of something seem like the way we're seeing. Like they're going to honor just the supervisor. I believe there's word that they have to honor the cops as well that were there that day, Jason. It wasn't just a chief who, he did a good job. He did great. So did the sergeant.
Good leap over the fence.
Yeah, he did. He jumped over the fence, and then his cops.
An excellent photograph. It's almost as if someone was there waiting for it. But let me pause you a second, Sal, because we're almost out of time here, and we're going to go into all those details on the sponsor-exclusive segment that's coming up right after this. Just 5 minutes. People should stick with us, and they can join us on thesalgreco.substack.com. That's your new Substack page. People can subscribe there, support the show, watch our sponsor exclusive videos. You've got articles and breaking news and everything. It's a great way to support Sal. You can buy the hairbag t-shirt and drink your Sal Greco coffee out of the mug while you're subscribing to Substack. You can also see it on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We'll be back in 5 minutes, so stay with us, everybody. Go over to those websites, sign up, become subscribers, and join us. We'll be right back to go into some more details with Sal about what went on with that Wile E. Coyote bomb and the ISIS-loving terrorist and all the other crazy things that are happening in the NYPD. Stay with us.